This is our ICM statistics video project by Maya, Ethan, and Cassidy.
So for our collection method, we created a survey for PC seniors to fill out, and we surveyed 100 seniors. We used a combination of random sampling and convenience samplings. Our convenience sampling was asking our classmates, and we created an online survey for others to fill out, which is our random. And our question was, how many hours of sleep do you get each night?
Okay, so we used a histogram as a visual representation of our data, and it's just a simple way to show how many kids slept how many hours per night.
Our first measure of central tendency was the mean, and we added all the numbers in our data set and then divided by the total numbers in the set, which was 100, and we got about 5.94 hours.
For our next measure of central tendency, we calculated the median. We arranged numbers from smallest to largest in the data set and crossed out the numbers from each side to find the middle number, and we found that it was 6.
The next measure of central tendency is mode, which is just the number that occurs the most frequently, and it turns out that most kids sleep 5 hours a night.
Our last measure of central tendency was the mid-range, which is the sum of the smallest and largest value in the data set divided by 2. In this case, it was 9 and 2, so we got 5.5.
So for our next measure of spread, we calculated Q1, Q2, and Q3. Q1 is equal to the lower quartile in the data set, and it's also 25% of the data. We got 5. Q2 is the middle number in the data set. It's also the median, and we got 6. Q3 is the higher quartile in the data set, and it's equal to 75% of the data, and we got 7.
The IQR is the difference between Q3 and Q1. Our Q3 was 7 and our Q1 was 5, so it added out to 2.
Our next measure of spread was the range, which is the difference between the largest and smallest value in the data set, and that was 7.
For our next measure of spread, we calculated the variance, which is the average square deviation from the mean. First, to find the variance, you have to calculate the mean, and then you subtract the mean from each value. You have to square each deviation of the mean, and then add those squares, divided by the total number of the values in the data set. We got 1.98.
The standard deviation is a measure of how spread out our data is, and to find it, you take the square root of the variance. Our standard deviation came out to 1.41.
We also used Microsoft Excel to calculate the standard deviation and variance. We just plugged it into the spreadsheet using formulas, and we got the same standard deviation and variance in Excel as we did calculating it by hand.
Our distribution is not normal because our mean, median, and mode are all different. Below, you'll see a standard deviation graph, and that is a normal distribution curve.